Diablo 4's latest patch nerfed one of the best farming spots that players have been utilizing the farm experience, and the number of elites are not so dense as before. As we find more spots and places of farm, it seems within just a few days the devs either nerfed the dungeons or even changed the amount of experience that we get. So the question is, where do we go now, and what spots can we find that will still yield you some good experience in a timely manner that will actually be beneficial to farm? Now I'm calculating the experience I get while consuming an elixir, which will grant me an extra 5% experience boost. And if you add a friend to the mix, you're only going to get more experience. So although these dungeons and spots I'm going to show you are very good for solo farming, it's best to farm this in a party so that you can utilize the extra experience boost from having that party member with you. So the first spot we're going to go is to Demon's Wake. This dungeon is in Scott's Glen in the Western Lowlands area. All you need to do is travel to this waypoint right underneath Saragar and travel to the dungeon. What's good about this dungeon is that there's a lot of enemies you can gather up and farm. You can literally get this dungeon done in just a few minutes if you have a friend. You guys can split up grouping up enemies and it'll just make things a lot faster. After running Demon's Wake, I was able to gain over a little over like 675,000 experience. If I had a friend, I would probably add on an extra about 33 to 35,000 experience to that. This dungeon took me about 11 minutes on my first try as I learned it, and after I understood the layout, I was clearing this dungeon within 6 minutes or so. And if you have a friend with you, you could probably get this done in half the time. The pros about this dungeon is it's quick to farm and you don't need to fight a boss at the end of the dungeon, so you can just run it back to back. But there are more dungeons that give you better experience. Now the next dungeon is called Broken Bulwark, which is actually right underneath Demon's Wake. This dungeon took me a little longer the first time around 13 minutes to complete, but I was exploring, checking out the dungeon, and I did die, so I had to run all the way back to where I was. And after completing the dungeon, I gained 742,000 experience. Now obviously it'd be faster to farm with a friend if I did have one. The extra experience boost would have yielded me an extra 37 to 38,000 experience. Now for the last dungeon I want to show you guys. This dungeon is by far the best experience I've gotten from any dungeon since they nerfed Ruins of Eridu, and there's a few reasons why. First, the dungeon has a similar layout as Eridu. There's a lot of mobs that attack you at once, so the mob density is pretty high, and after you defeat a bunch of mobs, they spawn in on top of you again, just like Ruins of Eridu. You can complete this in just a few minutes after you learn the layout, and you don't need to kill a boss at the end. What's also good about this dungeon is it's an awesome way to farm obols as well as experience, because you'll notice that you can come across 1 to 2 or even 3 events in just one run. They'll spawn here, which can give you a hell of a lot of drops, experience, and better yet, obols. So this dungeon is something I will be farming on a regular basis for experience, and hope to God that it doesn't get nerfed anytime soon. But in the meantime, do this dungeon. It's lucrative, but there is one thing that you do need to be careful of, that in these mobs deal poison damage, so it stacks up quick and they take a lot of health. I mean, especially for me, because I am a glass cannon necromancer, so take a poison resistant elixir if you can. This dungeon is called Alders Cave. So if you haven't been here, it is in Kyrgyzstan. The closest waypoint is Iron Wolves encampment, and once you spawn there, it's a short run to the cave, and once you're there, you can run through this and farm it. I gained 1 million experience as a solo, to be exact 1,011,348 experience as a solo, and that was with an elixir. And if I were to have had a party member with me, I could have probably gained about 55 to 60,000 more experience and would have completed it even faster. This dungeon, just as a solo, took me 7 minutes to complete. So with that said, you could probably do this in half the time as a party, and you could farm this over and over and over again until it gets patched, basically. So that's it, guys. Alders Cave. The mobs are bandit guys and beasts. There's a ton that spawn on you, and there's a lot of elites. And remember, they do deal poison damage, so make sure to take that elixir, because poison damage will stack up and it will take a lot of health. Alright guys, well that's it for now. I'm going to continue looking for some more awesome places to farm, and hopefully I can find some, and once I do, I'll make sure I make a video for you guys. If this helped you out in any way, shape, or form, please hit that like button, as it does help me out tremendously, and I wish you all the best. Take care.